If something comes up and you feel the need to ask a question before I move on, feel free to do so. But I'm just going to charge through this material, and then we'll be done, and we can get on to talking about whatever it is on your mind. Okay, so this is
Yes, sir. I'm eagerly taking notes.
excellent. Yes, notes are good. This is December 19th. This is week 4 of Digital Cinema Lighting 1. I'm Professor Walsh hosting this evening this Go-To Direct session, this live session. And I just want to go through the expectations for the week. I want to talk about what the assignments and the discussion posts entail. It's actually a pretty light week. There is a quiz, but it shouldn't be too bad. The focus this month was really giving you a real solid base for your three-point lighting approach to lighting your shots. It's going to be very important for you moving forward to have a real solid understanding of three-point lighting and how you can manipulate the variables like your key light, your fill light, or your edge light to affect the mood or tone of a shot, which in turn works in conjunction with the script or the story format that you are trying to convey. I'm just going to shift my control panel off to the right for a few moments, and we'll get rid of my nice headshot, compliments of Mr. Phil in the art department. And let's scroll over to the LMS, and let's take a look at what we got here. So week 4, pretty much week 4 unfolds like the previous 3 weeks. The live session this evening, we got some folks listening and standing by. If you missed this evening session, the recorded session will be posted on the LMS by tomorrow afternoon after I do a little cross-coding and compressing of the file. So look for the video here tomorrow night in the view video section of week 4. So our read-in view this week is going to be pretty simple. We've got some basic lighting techniques and interview lighting, which we haven't really touched on yet, but interview lighting, you can think of that as the next stage in your three-point lighting education. It's the standard for news gathering ENG productions that go out and grab the talking heads of the current events or the breaking news. Locally or on the national level. It's the kind of lighting that the folks are using anytime you see somebody reporting from, say, Washington, D.C., the White House, places of importance like that. Or when you see documentaries and you see the Black Limbo interview of the man who saw the UFO or the fighter pilot who fought in Vietnam, or any number of topics and concerns that you might find in documentaries. The three-point lighting setup or the interview setup is the standard protocol there, and then you'll see some variations on that. So check out chapter 6 and 7 out of the John Jackman book, Lighting for Digital Film and Television, and Lighting for Film, TV and Film, Third Generation by Gerald Millerson. For a little quick education on visual effects and some of the things that you might see in a situation where you might be, for instance, chroma keying, green screen replacement, in other words. Just a little bit of light reading, not too bad. We've got a video that goes along with it from the Rocket Jump Film School. It's just a quick discussion on shots and setups. A little something for you to watch before you go out there and plan your location shoots and so forth. And it is basically how to plan your shoot. So not too bad for the read and view for this week. A little bit of light reading, I guess. From there, we're going to go on to our final discussion for the month. And this is your final thoughts. So basically, without getting too in depth with rehashing the topics. We're just taking a light cursory view behind us in the rearview mirror to talk about what we've seen and done, what we've tried in our assignments, what we might have learned in our reading and viewing opportunities. And we're bringing a light conversation to the forum. Just tell us what you've learned in not so many words. I think it's asking for 300 words. I think that's probably 3 healthy paragraphs, perhaps. This is helpful in a lot of ways. First of all, it's good for you folks to be able to network with one another and compare and contrast what each of you is taking away from the course by the end of 4 weeks. But it's also good for me, believe it or not, because I can read your responses and I can sort of gauge whether or not we need to tweak some things or add some information, or maybe delete some information that is superfluous, and put in more of what you guys really crave in terms of your learning experience, what you really want to know about, what you're open and ready to receive in terms of new techniques or new methods or examples of work that you maybe haven't been exposed to yet, whatever it is. So I use these discussion forums, these what have you learned style forums for your benefit in the long run. It helps me design these courses and fine tune them for what you truly need. So think about it, write a few things down, respond to your peers by Sunday night. Now, of course, this is Tuesday night now. You're supposed to give me your initial post by tomorrow evening at midnight. And if that's at all possible, I would appreciate that, no later than Thursday, if you don't mind. And that gives folks enough time to respond to what you've written by Sunday night. And of course, 3 or 4 nights for folks to read everyone else's work, thoughtfully consider what points are being made, and consider a response before the due date strikes would be, at the very least, professional courtesy on your part. So please don't be late on your initial post so that everybody has ample time to consider a response. Remember, 2 responses minimum get you a high grade, and I do deduct for missing responses. So the fewer responses you do means the less engaged you are, and if that's the case, your grade will reflect that. So I don't think it's necessary to take a look at the instructions for this. It's really pretty cut and dry. Next, we want to move on to our final open book knowledge check. So that's got a due date of Friday. In fact, I want to just point that out really quick. If you haven't already seen and made note of the LMS, there's a number of items that are due by Friday the 22nd, not Sunday the 24th. Sunday the 24th is Christmas Eve. We have chosen to make the LA Film School deadline for projects a hard out on December 22nd. And your student course evaluation will be due by the 31st. I will accept assignments Sunday night if you folks are still working on your projects on Christmas Eve. I hope that you won't be. I hope that you've given yourself ample time to complete your work in advance of the holiday. But in the event that we have some folks coming in under the wire, I will take a look at it. I don't know when I'll get your grades. If you turn things in much later than say Saturday by lunchtime, I'm not quite sure when I'll get to your grades after that. I will be on vacation for 2 weeks, and I probably won't be accessible till around January the 2nd. Our courses will resume on, I believe it's the 8th of January. Let's take a look at the calendar real quick. Blah, 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 blah. Looks like, yeah, Monday the 8th of January, I believe classes resume at LA Film School. So you're going to want to get your stuff in pretty quick by Friday. Let's face it, nobody wants to work during the Christmas holiday. You're going to be visiting with friends, going to Christmas parties, enjoying the family, and then before you know it, it's New Year's Eve, and nobody wants to do film assignments on New Year's Eve either. So let's hunker down and get her done, shall we? Project 4.3, lighting a scene. Let's take a look at it here. Lighting a scene. This project is your chance to show off, show me what you've learned. Not real tough. It's 3 shots, principally. A wide shot, which you could consider an establishing shot, a medium or a close-up to accompany that wide shot. So in other words, you're going to show me an establishing shot or a wide shot that's going to give me in 15 to 30 seconds a complete understanding of what your point is, and then your medium or close-up is going to reinforce that point, and you're going to have 1 cutaway minimum, mandatory, and that's it, really. So think about it. It could be something as easy as girl walks into room as the telephone rings, approaches the handset, pulls it off the wall, talks with the friend, close-up of the receiver at the mouth, or the hand on the phone, or someone dialing, or the caller ID for perhaps in an insert shot, and then maybe back to your medium, and then you're out. So 3 original shots, maybe a couple of encore looks at your mediums and your wides, and then put it all together on a timeline. Throw something under it, some music or something if you got it, or if you got dialogue, that's fine. Submit it for a grade, no big deal. Doesn't have to be anything complicated. I think one of my most successful stories for week 4 in Lighting 1 was Man Wakes Up and Makes Coffee. And it was terrific. And it was exactly what the project called for, nothing more, nothing less. Just very well-produced shots with good examples of lighting techniques learned in the course. And very simple, very quick, and very good grade. He did an excellent job on that, and he demonstrated his ability not only to keep it simple, but to show me what he's learned in 3 simple setups. So that was Jeremy, and he did an excellent job at that. If you want to take on an optional challenge, if you're one of those students who really gets it and you're not having any difficulty with the concepts and you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you could make this a 2-way conversation. Let's say 2 folks having coffee instead of 1. So what you're going to do is have your wide or establishing shot. Then you're going to have coverage in 2 directions. Coverage on character 1, coverage on character 2. Probably an insert for each. And maybe a split 2 to wrap it all up. Edit it, throw some music underneath it, shoot it to me for a grade. No big deal. I know I'm making it sound really easy, but by this time, hopefully you've got a pretty good handle on what is required. And don't overthink it. Don't make a movie and send me something that is going to represent a huge investment in your time. Just give me some good, competent photography with some good lighting, something that you might be able to use in your portfolio class, and move on, folks. We don't have to make many movies every time we have an assignment that's due. It saps your time and draws you away from the principal reason for these exercises in the first place, which is to demonstrate good technique, solid examples of 3-point lighting so that I can see where you're at. But that's it for project 4.3. So not too bad. The instructions are fairly cut and dry. We got your overview, what you'll need, how to create it, how to package it, when and where and how to submit it, and if you're interested in how I'm going to take a look at it and evaluate your grade, the rubric is on the end of the instruction materials. There is a worksheet, and it's designed for you to document what you're doing. So you're going to drag and drop thumbnails from your actual video. So shoot your video first. Then when you get it into Premiere, just pull some still frames out and to fill into the worksheet here. So we've got drag and drop your wide shot storyboard image. You can storyboard your piece, You're going to give me your lighting diagram. Then you're going to drag and drop a still image from the actual video. This is the wide. So you got wide, medium, and insert. Then you're going to drag and drop a set photo of your lighting setup for your wide, and you're going to repeat that for your medium and for your insert. Okay, and it's very simple. There's some metadata specs here on the side that you can fill in if you don't mind. Your key light, your fill light, and your backlight wattages. Any other lights that you've used. Give me a quick estimation of your paper amps. Calculate your real amps based on your total wattage used. And your camera report, we're going to want your aperture, your ISO, that's your chip sensitivity, your focal length. It'll be a Z number that you can convert to a millimeter with the conversion chart that we gave you in your, I believe it's your week 2 worksheet. The Kelvin temperature of your lighting, the date and time of the shoot, and your distance from camera to subject. So this should be pretty cut and dry. This is the same information on each page, by the way. Don't be alarmed. It's fairly cut and dry, but it will probably take you honestly, probably 2 to 3 hours to gather it all together and package it up. But if you stay focused, you ought to be able to get it done well on time. And if you do have a little bit of extra time and you want to check out the additional resources, we got a little bit of DIY stuff for you. We got a video on making hand dimmers for incandescent lights out of parts from Home Depot. And we also have a couple of videos on using LED strips or LED tape, which you can now purchase cheaply and easily off of eBay or Amazon.com. LEDs are the future. They're the cutting edge of technology, and the film industry has embraced it full throttle at this point. There's more LED product on the market now than ever before. We've moved away from fluorescent fixtures and incandescent stage fixtures. The only things left out there from the conventional world would be the high intensity discharge lamps, or the HMIs that are used on professional sets. They still have a copious output with daylight balance, and it's great for lighting large subjects from considerable distances, big setups, green screens outside, and so forth. So the HMIs are still playing a significant role in the industry at large, especially out in Hollywood, but for all other aspects of smaller setups, interior setups, night setups, and of course low budget and independent filmmaking, documentaries, commercials, and so forth, the LEDs are kind of ruling the roost. So this is a little introduction into basic wiring for LED tape, uses for LED tape, and a DIY solution explanation from yours truly. And that's week 4.3, folks. So maybe it sounds like a lot, but the reality is I don't think that this is really even as busy as last week in terms of what you have to do. But as always, if you have any questions or issues with the material, you can give me a call, leave me a message, or shoot me an email. I will get back to you. And that's it. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email or we can cover it. Please don't forget, by the way, your student course evaluation. It opens on December 20th. That's tomorrow. And you have until December 31st to turn it in. It really is actually an important piece of information that you can provide for us. It informs me of how well the course is serving you in your learning experience, and whether or not the information is useful and valuable to you as you see it. And it gives you a chance to either compliment or constructively criticize the format of the course. And if it's something that we need to take a look at and possibly fix, your evaluation will point us in the right direction. So please take the time to fill that out. And of course, if you're happy with your experience, we will always accept flattery. There's no shame in it, and we will boldly accept it. So that's that. At the very end of the course, if you take a look, Lighting equipment support and accessories. Folks, this is the company that makes your equipment. This is the website to Favatech Studio Pro. If you ever have issues or problems with your equipment, if you have broken parts that need to be replaced, or if you're looking to purchase newer equipment, for instance LED panels, you can check with them. It's a good idea to have a relationship with your equipment suppliers. As a professional, it's nice to know that you got folks that are in your corner standing behind you if you have problems, and they can support you in making sure that you have all the gear that you need to perform your work in the field. The student media policy is posted here. Again, take a look at it if you're doing any filming that involves use of weapons or firearms or the consumption of drugs or alcohol. There are very strict policies about that, and you can read about the requirements in the media policy that's posted at the end of the course. There's also a little bit on the student late work policy. I'm sure by now you're all well aware of what that policy is, how it works, and how it affects your overall grade. So if you haven't read it by now, please give it a look over. But as I said, by this time I'm sure you're well aware of it. So that's all I have for you tonight. We do have some folks in the gallery that are here for the live presentation, so I'm going to turn off the recording at that point and take your questions and so forth. So thanks for tuning in if you are watching the video remotely from home, and I will talk to you again soon.